Hi everyone! So today what I wanted to show you was my easy way that I do my quick fur. So what I always do with my quick method is I find two shades, one which is much lighter and then a darker shade to put on the top of that. You can see here what I'm doing is I'm just laying down the base colours in the lightest shades. So I've used TN1 there that I'm putting down where I'm wanting some more tan shades in the fur. I've put down a fleshy colour inside the ears, and then what I'm going to do is I'm putting down a blue-grey, a light blue-grey, where I'm wanting the fur to be more white. I know it sounds strange that you're putting down a grey where you're wanting the whiter hair, but white hair isn't actually white. If you really zoom in on something, a picture or something, you'll actually see there's lots and lots and lots of different shades and tones in there. So it's easier to just put a base layer down. Here I'm wanting the fur to be black. So what I'm actually doing is I'm putting down the darkest of the ice grey shades first. So I've got ice grey 8, that's the one I've got, and I'm laying that down everywhere that I'm wanting the black fur to be eventually. So I'm not worried really about getting a complete smooth blend. I'm just laying down those colours so I've got a nice base to be able to work on. You can see I've left some white parts that's where I'm wanting my highlights. It's difficult to do highlights if you haven't left white paper underneath. So now I'm going in with my black, and I'm just putting in the colours on top of the nose where I'm wanting it to be much darker, and colouring in the eyes, the pupils. With dogs, they usually have dark shades around the eyes. You have like a black outlining, so I put those in as well. But with the eyes, remembering to keep that white highlight so that you've got a nice, gives it a shiny look. Okay, so now I'm going in with the Ice Grey 4, I believe that one is, and I'm actually putting in where I'm wanting the shadows to be on the snout, muzzle, and making sure that that base has got just a little bit more of a dimension to it. So now I've gone in with the TN4, and you can see I'm doing flick blending here. I'm just flicking over the top of that TN1 base just to give some texture. Then I've gone back with the Ice Grey 8, and I'm actually doing some dot blending here. So I'm just using a few little different sized dots, larger and smaller, around the muzzle and around the lips area where it will be darker, and also just a few dots and shades up the snout and around the side of the face, just to break up that base and get some more texture into your colouring. So here we go, this is the main part. So we've got my black colour, which I'm going now over the top of the ice grey, and I'm using flick blending all the way here. So the idea is, what you're actually doing is you're leaving some of the ice grey showing which gives you more depth to your colouring. When you get to edges of the colouring, you want to try and flick over the top of them so that you're giving a bit more of a furry finish to it rather than a clean edge. When you are flicking, what you're wanting to do is make sure that you're flicking in the direction that the fur is flowing, because that's what's going to make it look more realistic. So if you're new to flick blending, the key with control is to keep your hand actually on the table, on your piece of work. So you're keeping that ball of your hand on there whilst you're flicking with your fingers in the directions that you want to go. You can see, so I'm actually using my fingers rather than my hand and arm as the control. So there you go, I'm going in now with some black onto the muzzle, and you can see how that, by adding that black, those black shades to it, what it's actually done is turned that grey behind it to look more white. And then you can just go back in again with a few shades to blend back again into the different areas. Here's where I use my blender. So the blender tool, remember, is not to blend colours together, but more to kind of push them back or make them make solid lines less defined. So I've gone over those solid brush strokes in the muzzle there just to make them less defined and more fuzzy. So now if you go in with sharp, very, very sharp colour blend pencils, pencil crayons, then what you can do now is be adding further detail. So you're getting nice fine lines, doing flicks, shading up some of the areas that you feel didn't quite get dark enough, doing any corrections that you're needing to have. And you can also go in with a white pencil and make some highlights over the top of the dark areas that you've got. You can see I can put in some fine white fur there, and also highlight some other areas. There we go, so that's my quick method of doing fur. Obviously if I was doing fur and it was much more of a feature, then I would be doing it in a different way, and that's a tutorial that I'll come to in the future. So now my cold dog is going to have his scarf put on. I love the colour red, and so does my son, so my little boy wanted him to have a red scarf. I'm going to have to refill my red pens very soon, because that's the colour he chooses most. So with this one, I'm actually going through 4-way blends with this. So I've got 4 different shades, all in the same dark red family. So I've got DR1, DR2, DR4 and DR6. So I lay down the base first of the lightest shade, the DR1, then I go to the darkest, the DR6, and place that where I'm wanting my shades and shadows, and then you move through the colours. So then I'd go to a DR4 to go over the top of where those two merge, blend them together so it's less defined, and then back again. So then you can go to the DR2, push that back again, and then the DR1 lastly, just to push that, then back again. If you're interested in having a better detailed look at blending marker tools, I've also done a video on something called the three-way blend, which this is exactly the same process. Have a look at that in my channel. So many people ask me about shading. Where do you put the shades at, Ali? What's going on? How do I figure it out? Well, it's just something that you get a feel for. When I'm out and about and looking at things, I'm always looking at where the shadow falls on things. It's just something that's got into my head now since I've been colouring. So if I'm not sure when I've got a picture, what I also do is go onto Google and look at some pictures, get some inspiration, get some ideas. But the main process that you're thinking about is, the first thing you've got to do is decide where your light source is coming from. Okay, so what's going to be hit by the light the most, and that's going to be where your lightest part will be. And then from that you can then tell where your darkest is going to be. So if it's going to be in creases and folds, you're going to have shadows. If something's underneath something else, it's going to have a dark shadow. If something is possibly further away from the light source, it's going to be a little bit darker than something that's close to it. Don't worry too much about it, is the main thing I would say. It will improve as you do your colouring. As you do more and more, you'll get much more improvement in it. But as long as you've got some shadows and some highlights, and there's a really good contrast between them, contrast meaning that your darks are dark and your lights are light, then it will look good and it will just get better and better and better. Don't be afraid to go dark. The darker that you go with your shadows, the more your image will pop. Okay, so there we go, and that's my cold dog. I wish I was cold. It's absolutely boiling here in England at the minute. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that it's been informative. And if you do like and are learning, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, support me, and you can visit my website www.getsetcraft.com, where you can download this picture for you to colour in yourself. If you do colour it in, please, I'd love to see them. So if you want to upload it onto my Facebook page or onto my website, or if you put it on Instagram with hashtag GetSetCraftAlong, which is my name there, then I'd love to see them. Thanks ever so much. Take care. See you soon. Bye.